Hey everybody, welcome back to Chicago Reacts. My name is Michael. I'm an actor here in the city of Chicago, and I'm joined by the ever brilliant, the always talented, the one, the only.
It's Zach, also an actor here in Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are reacting to some Bricky.
Yes.
And it's a really cool combination of Bricky and content that he just so happened to drop.
Yeah.
It's Uncharted 2, one of the best sequels ever made.
Yes.
So obviously combining the two of those, we felt
Yeah, we love Uncharted. We're so happy to dive into this. We are going to break it up into two parts, so stay tuned for part 2. And we'll see. Let's dive into it, shall we?
Here we go, ladies and gents. Here we go.
So I've touted Gamer Sups a lot, I know, but hear me out one more time because there's new stuff. We did a top 5 flavors thing in the Elden Ring video. They came out with a new one like right after. Peach tea. It's incredible. It's easily a top 5. Not only did they do that, they also came out with caffeine-free versions of black cherry, peach tea, and more. So, like, I've been on a weight loss journey for a bit, and I realized, that calories in, calories out is all that matters. There's a lot of you out there that drink a lot of soda, 2-3 sodas a day. That's like 500 calories every day. All you need is sparkling water, caffeine-free black cherry, and you have yourself a delicious black cherry soda with 0 calories and 0 sugar that won't keep you up at night. And if you do want it to keep you up, well, there's the regular flavor. Like, I have a hard time explaining genuinely how good this shit is. All the flavors that they already have, all the caffeine-free variants, like, it's all 0 cal. It's all, it's really good. And I get a really big commission from it because obviously I'm sponsored by them. And I like money. You get 10% off if you use code Bricky forever. If you want to restock, 10% off, code Bricky forever. And if you order within the next week, you get free shipping internationally, everywhere. Check the description. There's a link there. Use code Bricky. It's really good. You know what else is really good? Uncharted 2. Hello everybody, my name is Bricky, currently serving a little bit of community service for posting this image in my community tab. I forgot the community tab even existed and I found it again, and I've just been a menace. This video covers Uncharted 2. I've already covered Uncharted 1. If you'd like to watch that video, I would highly recommend it because I'll be referencing it a lot. Is in the description or the cards above. Coming into Uncharted 2 was a bit of a battle. This game is legendary. It is considered by many to be one of the best games of all time, and it came out in 2009, another golden year for games. But the shock of Uncharted 1 being nowhere near as good as I thought it was had me tempering my expectations a little bit.
Uncharted 1 came out like very early on PlayStation 3. Yeah, and to be, I still thoroughly enjoyed it. Maybe a little bit repetitive at times, gameplay wise, but I still enjoyed it. Did you?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I recently played all of the Uncharted games like in the last 2 years, and I still think they hold up. They're still excellent games. They're really fun.
Yeah. One is definitely on the lowest tier of all of them, but one is still a fantastic thrill ride of a game. And yeah, like there wouldn't be a 2 without one. So let's be real.
Finishing it is harmed a lot less by time than Uncharted 1 was. It's not perfect, and it does have some issues, but it's not Uncharted 1. The base game is so good, so massively improved in every single department that it still holds up exceptionally, even with the passage of time. One of the best games ever made? I'm not sure I'd go that far, but it's incredible compared to the first one. It is better in every way than its predecessor. When there's a really good sequel, normally they improve upon most things, but not everything is improved upon. Not here. No, every single attribute of this game is better than the original. Every single one. The game is more than double the.
How you can get hit by a rocket and be fine, and they're not like, I gotta.
Yeah, it might interfere with your gracefulness while running.
And your vision goes to grayscale, but.
Hey man,
on that we're good. We're gold.
When you're Nathan Drake, man, anything goes.
The length of the original, and it feels shorter. The combat is massively improved. The climbing is better. The story is better. The pacing is better. The villain is better. The characters are better. The voice acting
I remember
is better.
The first one, the characters were a little flat, like that, especially that character. What is the girl with the black hair? I forgot.
Chloe?
Yeah. Like I remember in the first one, I was like, "Whoa, this is like grossly
Yeah.
written. It is like just obnoxious."
Elena's a bit flat in the
Yeah.
first one. The first one just is more about like just the adventure and the search.
Yeah.
And the gameplay was okay. The gameplay was good. It wasn't great. And it was more about Nathan and Sully, I would say, than it was the
Yeah. So I'm glad that they wrote the characters better for this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
The location variety, the weapon variety, every single aspect of this game is better. It is that much improved. Now, if you'll remember in my previous video, I played Uncharted 1 on normal difficulty because Uncharted 1's gameplay is ass. And also because of a certain segment lives in my head rent free. But for this game, I wanted to challenge myself because I've beaten every Uncharted game on crushing difficulty, every single one. Now I was a much younger Brick, better reflexes, less hit pain, but I did it. Now I didn't want to go that hard into this game because I wanted to get it done in a timely manner, so I did hard, the one right below crushing. That may have been a mistake.
It's hard. It's hard on hard. That's how I played it. It was brutal.
I think I played it.
Yeah. It's pretty unforgiving.
But that makes it, but like low key, that's what makes it rewarding. That's what like, it's not just you want to find out what happens next in the story, but like it's challenging, but it always feels for the most part fair.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like when you play a game and you just destroy everybody and everything, it's just like, why am I doing this? Yeah. You want to like die. You want to lose. Otherwise, what's the point? You know, if you're just gonna win automatically.
Uncharted 2 starts with a very famous scene of Nathan Drake currently bleeding from a bullet wound in his stomach and being on a destroyed train. In perspective flip, that destroyed train is hanging off a goddamn cliff and you are falling down it. This is one of the best
with that
openings.
much lost blood. Dude, I'm
No
sorry. You're not
way.
gonna
You're not climbing out of a train. But
adrenaline's a strong thing, but not
on the
strong.
flip side, what an incredible intro to a game. Like this was, I mean, the games have always been very cinematic, and I was like, "This is great. This is
next level."
Yeah.
This is
in almost any video game I can think of. It's exciting. How did Nathan get there? How did he get shot? Where's this train coming from? Why is it off of a cliff? Even though you can't actually fill this part, the intrigue alone keeps you really engaged. You feel like you're in peril even though you actually gameplay wise are not. And this teaches the player climbing and all the facets of climbing too. Get through this climbing segment and you immediately get a perspective shift to nice, sunny Nathan Drake on the beach. Here we are introduced to one of the scariest types of people in the world, smug British man. His name is Harry Flynn, and him and Nate have some history, and Harry has a job for him. This job is the overarching quest of the game. In the original game, you were following Sir Francis Drake in the El Dorado. Now you are following Marco Polo. You're trying to steal a Mongolian oil lamp that has ties to Marco Polo from his doomed voyage from China centuries ago. And Nathan is the only one that has ever been able to make it out of a museum you were stealing it from. This also introduced us to Chloe Fraser, who the two of them seem to know each other, but are playing it off as if they don't, for reasons we'll know later.
Nate, Drake, Nathan, Drake.
Hello, Harry.
Chloe is one of the best drivers in the business. She'll take good care of us. I bet.
So let's talk about the amazing things this opening scene has done. First off, the train segment has already taught you climbing. You'll be learning a little bit more of it later with the museum part, but you already understand the concept of climbing. It's also an amazing spectacle session, something that the first game really lacked. It also provides this intriguing bit of backdrop. How did the whole thing with Chloe and Flynn end up with Nathan half dead in a train off the snowy mountains? That's the intrigue, that's the setup, and they even play with it just a little bit with their transition.
You in then? What the hell? I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
He needs some.
The journey we're on is also set up a lot better. Marco Polo's doomed voyage from China. It gives you a clear understanding of what you're doing as opposed to kind of just following Francis Drake. The voice acting also feels a lot less stage play-y like it did in the first game. It feels much more smoother, so much more natural, and I'd say just straight up better. See, Chloe Fraser is voiced by Claudia Black, who you may know from Artemis in God of War, Morrigan in A Dragon Age, a multitude of Mass Effect characters, Sam in Gears of War, Tess Everest in Destiny, and many, many more. You'll recognize her voice instantly. See, Uncharted 4 didn't have Chloe in it. They had the Lost Legacy thing afterwards, but for a while, because I think Uncharted 4 is just such a phenomenal game, I kind of forgot about Chloe a little bit, which also made me forget how she absolutely slays her character. She's as good as Nolan North playing Nathan in this game, sometimes even surpassing him. She is just as quick as he is, and she just really kills her lines. She's a genuine treat to have on screen. It throws a little bit more risque dialogue out there, which is always fun, because she plays the attractive character who knows she's attractive and uses it to her advantage with the whole double agent side of things. She's good. She's really good. As you go through the game, Nathan's going through the train cars and all that stuff, and there's many times in here where he should just be fucking dead, but we'll talk more about that later on. Go back in time a bit more,
I
and then
remember
you realize
thinking
that
that the whole
Nathan
time.
and Chloe...
Okay, so I remember playing it, but there was an aspect of like, you should be dead, but it did make my character, like, when I played it, it felt like it kept me on the edge of my seat more. So I wonder if that was like part of it. It's like, you really want to feel like worn down and like, no way did this guy do it. So I think they kind of leaned too far into the overkill of this guy should totally be dead, but yeah, I'm curious to see if you felt that at all. Like, because there is something with video games, like creating an emotional reaction and playing with your expectations. And if you're like, this guy should be dead, oh man, there's a certain thing, like it causes you to have a certain response.
Yeah, I do think that it definitely went even more overkill in 3.
Yeah,
Like when he falls out of the plane.
that was so cool though.
And-
I don't know.
No, I mean it's cool, but it does get to a point where it's just like, all right, Nathan's invincible.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It doesn't detract anything from the experience. I think that the story and the treasure hunt aspect, and then obviously the relationship elements too. I think it takes it to a level where you can be extremely forgiving because you are always aware of the fact that I'm playing a game, but because of Nathan Drake and who he is, and because Nolan North is so good, you like when Bricky's comment about the voice actors for Chloe, and it's like, yeah, it's you like Nathan Drake so much, and you identify like he embodies like everything that I feel like every male wants to be.
I mean, yeah,
as
he's
an
very like
adventurer.
typical masculine dad. I mean, I think the voice acting throughout the series is really good. And I think again, it's playing in that like Indiana Jones, 007, James Bond like character. So I think you sort of disband some of that disbelief. Oh, that's not possible.
That's not
Kind
Very
of
good.
have a little relationship thing going on, kind of, sort of. Their plan is simple. Get the treasure, fuck over Flynn, go off on their own together. Dialogue here, again, just outstanding.
Get to be jealous.
Wait a minute, Chloe.
If it makes you feel any better, my relationship with Flynn is strictly professional.
Really?
Mostly professional.
Oh.
Now we move to the museum heist, and it's pretty much something but climbing and stealth. That's a big part of the second game, is stealth. It's not something you could always do. Kind of feels more like a setup for a lot of different areas that eventually just lead to combat anyway, but it's an option for those of you who want to use it. At this part, it's mandatory because you're in a museum, you don't get caught, and you get little tranquilizer guns because you didn't want to bring guns. But, you know, they brought tranks because why not? Who cares? Doesn't matter. This section is also really good because Nate has someone to talk to, which is always when Nate is at his best. And him and Flynn has some pretty decent banter.
Come on. All right. I think I'm gonna take the elevator next time. We're in. Yeah, in like Flynn, right? What? In like Flynn. I don't get it.
You make your way to the oil lamp, you break the thing open, you find little bits of resin and paper inside of it. Burn the resin and you get this beautiful blue glow, and you can see right there. And then, hello, that's a location on a map. It's a good thing we have our good and loyal friend Flynn. Oh my God. Before that though, the overarching mystery goes up a little bit. You've realized that Marco Polo found Shambhala, Shangri-La itself, the mythical city. And whatever he came back with, well, caused some problems. Now, Shambhala, I don't know anything about that. Shangri-La, I know plenty because I play COD Zombies and that map fucking sucks. But in douchebag form, he betrays you, of course, with his very, very fancy.
And the fact that you've got replica written down the side of your gun. And the fact that I've got Desert Eagle, .50. Written on the side of mine.
Flynn doesn't kill him, just gets the guards alerted.
I think was that Snitch or I just recognized that actor from Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
It is freaking name. But yeah, he's been in so much.
Yeah.
He's been in so much.
And you try to run away from all the guards. They use laser targeting, which is great because they teach you how to dodge laser targeting early on. You think you're gonna make it out, you don't. You get captured and then you get thrown into a prison for 3 months. And Nathan is got a little cuckoo.
Detail, didn't you, partner? What? Face it, genius, you've been played. Oh, really?
Sully bails him out, goes through all their money doing so, and this is, if the voice acting wasn't already better, or at least just the script, anything, that this will solidify it right here.
Hello, Nate.
Oh, no. No.
Now wait a second.
Sully, kick her out and shut the door. We're safer in here.
Just wait a goddamn minute. Hear her out.
Thank you, Victor.
Hey, no offense, Sully, but you're not exactly the best judge of character, especially when it comes to women.
Fair enough.
So they make up, and the next part is to go and grab some information from a tent from our main villain, Zoran Lazarevic, who Flynn happens to be working for. This next part is almost identical to Uncharted 1. It's Sully and Nate in a jungle, except Chloe's there on the comm, but this is Sully and Nate in the jungle. However, the dialogue is a lot better.
I'm sweating like a hooker in church.
You brought a hooker to church?
Why not?
And the combat is definitely more improved. As you can tell, I do not look like I'm a seal having a stroke with a controller anymore. I can actually aim and shoot. There are things for me to do. I can aim and hit people. The combat is much better. I don't know why, but it feels a hell of a lot better. They did something, some technicality that I don't understand because I just review these games and I don't make them. You also get your first look at Lazarevic. He's pretty calm.
I do miss the age of shooters where the bullets traveled so slowly you could dodge them.
Oh,
Like with the pistol there, where you can like see it track across the map.
yeah.
Like I feel like in a push to be more realistic, most games you can't do that anymore. It's like almost instantaneous.
That's
And
a
there's
really
something
interesting
fun
point.
about like, oh, I can dodge that. Like,
yeah, but it also gives more like magnitude to a shot that you're firing too, because you to a certain extent can also track it. It makes it more satisfying when it actually lands on your target.
yeah. I mean,
It's
it's a
really
little
interesting. I
cartoony,
haven't-
but it's I remember playing it being like, huh, I actually really like this. And maybe I'm just nostalgic for like games of my generation, and then that was sort of more the norm. But I really liked it. So, yeah.
No, Zoran, I can't explain.
No need. I am surrounded by traitors and fools.
Cause a distraction, Nate gets in the tent and you learn about this golden passport to get to Shambhala and how Marco Polo was terrified of the cargo they had brought back. And at this point, this is when we get into the real meat of the combat. And now we can talk a little bit about the combat and the gameplay of Uncharted 2.
We need a strategic plan of attack.
I got one. Combat time.
The
Yes,
controls of
it is
Uncharted 2
all
just feel better in general. Aiming is snappier, movement feels better, enemy variety has been improved, weapon variety is improved, but not by a whole lot. The gameplay is really nothing overly special, but it's just better enough to make it feel like there's been a solid improvement, at least in the technicality, the controls. Something like that makes it feel a hell of a lot better. Controlling Nathan, specifically controlling Nathan, feels a million times better in this game. However, enemies of this game do not play fair. Now, there's a lot more variety. Pistol guys, AK guys, M4 guys, shotgun guys, heavily armored guys, superly heavily armored chainsaw guys, RPG guys, sniper guys, grenade.
I remember having to redo that section.
With the heavily armored shotgun guys.
It was in the snow.
And you have no ammo.
Yep, and those heavily armored shotguns.
That took me forever to finish.
Especially on those harder difficulties.
And then when I did, I felt such a
beast.
Yeah. So awesome.
Grenade launcher guy. There's a lot of variety here. I mean, they're mostly just different variations of guy, but there's more. And surprisingly, they actually act a bit different from each other, which is great, but they don't play fair. Enemies in this game have a set pattern in how they attack. They fire a few bursts, and then they put their heads down, have some downtime, and they put their heads back up and you go again. These bursts are not random. So normally the idea is they fire their bursts while you're in cover, and you stick your head out of cover, wait for them to pop their head out again, and you...
I do remember this kind of being annoying too. Like, a lot of battles would take so much longer than they should have. And like the number of times that, you would die because you're like trying to nail down one specific enemy. But because of the patterns and like, especially in those bigger set pieces, sometimes it would just screw you over. Yeah. And then especially when they would, because in the harder difficulties, they would flank you. They would push, they would actually strategically push you and flank
forward.
You. And so many memories of this exact thing right here. Of like
I can't kill that guy because he's in cover and I'm being shot from behind. So I have to,
And then as soon as I leave to see the other guys behind me, out comes the guy from behind, Then now he's the guy that's behind.
You blast them with a couple good headshots or something. Their bursts are not random in terms of bullets either. If you are out of cover, or perhaps are aiming outside of cover, leaning out of it or whatever, those bullets will magnetize and auto lock onto you. Whether it's the smallest pistol or a shotgun, miles away, it'll lock. So in order to deal with them properly, you need to constantly be in cover, which is fine. It's a cover shooter, but you also need to shoot them only in between their various bursts. This is a problem for 4 scenarios. 1, the game does not sport a map. Enemies don't make a whole lot of noise either. You also die very fast. So often as you're just moving through the combat arena, you will turn a corner, there will just happen to be a guy there, and you will get insta-gibbed. 2, health regeneration in this game is decades long. Oh my God. It takes so long for you to regen in this game. So you poke your head out, eat a few shots, go to gray, and then wait and wait and wait to eventually get back to normal again. Poke your head out again and immediately get set right back there, and you'll wait and you'll wait and you'll wait for so long just to regenerate your own HP. The third, if enemies overlap their fire, there's not a whole lot you can do. Example, this bridge section in a monastery. Poking my head out for a split second, and I mean a split second, puts me to gray. This makes it so that you genuinely don't have a good opportunity to stick your head out and fire at the enemies unless you are blind firing the entire way, which only works if you are really close to the enemies and you don't get a ton of ammo in this game either. They also love to throw grenades at you all the time, which means you gotta jump out of cover to move from them, which means you're not in cover, which means bullets.
No, you throw them back. Throw them back at them. That's what you gotta do.
You gotta do, Brick.
You always gotta throw back. That is how you kill everybody.
That's what you gotta do, Brick.
That's the go-to. You throw it back.
Throw back.
Right? I'm not crazy there.
No.
That's how I won the game. I'm pretty sure.
Was that a mechanic in 2?
I thought so.
I'm trying to think if it started
or was it 3?
I think it was 3.
I don't know. I played them back to back, so I don't really remember. I thought it was. But I didn't see something pop up, so maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I remember using that a lot once I got very good at throwing it back. Yeah.
I got because I had to get
very good at it. Yeah. Because it was something like you had to press. I think it was 3. Yeah.
I thought it was like trying. It's been a while since I played.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can throw back, but
Let us know in the comments.
yeah.
Bullets magnetized to you as well. And finally, the respawn points are I do mean that. Each encounter has a respawn point at the beginning of the encounter, which can swap between 5 to 15 to 20 enemies. Even if
I literally remember that exact same spawn
Yeah.
at the edge, having to wait for that first guy.
Yeah, because you always gotta wait.
There are some points in this game, where I remember
it's like insane.
The grind was real, but it taught you a lot about patience.
Yeah.
If you die at the last enemy, the final one, the final person, you will go right back to the beginning. And let me tell you, depending on where you are for this stuff, oh, this is nightmarish. You'll have to do a climbing section again, deal with a certain initial amount of enemies, run out of ammo in some way that you may not have realized. There are so many possibilities this can go completely wrong. It's like trying to do Renala from Elden Ring phase 1, and then you get to phase 2 and you're like, okay, I just have to do the phase 1 over and over and over again. It's not even a challenge anymore. I just gotta do this tedium in order to get to the actual combat. And let me remind you, all this you're seeing, the myriad deaths, the myriad insta-kills, this is all on hard. This isn't even the hardest difficulty. There is a harder difficulty than this. I don't remember this game being this hard, and I'm playing it on hard. I beat this on crushing. This has made me realize how much better video games have become today. Uncharted 2 is considered one of the best video games of all time, and me playing it right now, the gameplay is fine. I mean, it's serviceable, something overly crazy, but the cracks are showing much deeper than I expected. I am flabbergasted that the gameplay felt this aggravating at times. We truly have changed video games heavily because I did not remember it this way before. Granted, this isn't every combat section. When there's a regular combat section that isn't too annoying and you just kind of roll your way through it, the enemies are decently sparse, or
I do
if
feel
not
like
sparse,
they had a decent level of like, hey, here's some ones that are really difficult, but here's like some easy encounters. Like the variation in encounter, I always, to me, it always felt like, oh, I really earned getting to the bad boss at the end.
Yeah, not only that, but like I even loved the levels. Like I remember when you get to the mountain and that one mountain guy takes care of you.
Yeah.
And then he ends up taking you to like the initial open point for Shangri-La.
Yeah.
I remember even just like appreciating those having a level every now and then where all it was just exploration and running and more exposition. I loved that. I loved the break from the shooting because that's the only thing that I will say about the game, especially one. But the gameplay itself doesn't offer a lot in terms of variation like with respect to the action and the gunplay. You know, there's different set pieces, of course, which makes every battle different. Yeah. But there's not really like puzzles to solve. Or if there are, but they're not right. But the puzzles are more like this is to break up the tedium of the level where, you know, instead of just following the guy, here's something fairly easy to solve.
Yeah.
But it just kind of helps break things up and rewards you for furthering the exposition.
Yeah. I thought they were pretty good about breaking things up. Like when, you know, stealth, climbing, puzzles, and shooting, like all that. I feel like there was enough to like keep me interested.
Yeah, I'm not saying like at any point like was there lost interest. I guess I think that's why this game does, and Brecky's even mentioned the frustration.
Yeah.
Is because you go through these long 2, sometimes 3, even 4 chapters in a row where there's all of this action, and that's why when you do end up making it to a level where it's just a level where the story just continues and you just get to like enjoy the environment without using your gun for once. Like, those levels are really refreshing.
They're relaxing.
Really, yes.
There are these predictable areas. It's all fine, and the gameplay actually feels really darn good. But there are there are sections that these scenarios really creep into, and do they get you. But Anyway, back to the story. You run away from Lazarevich's men, meet up with Chloe, find this little spot with a bunch of Marco Polo's crew, skeletons. They have black teeth for some reason, tons of blood all over the place, burning resin into a torch, the whole thing. And there you find it, the golden passport to Shambhala, right after a fantastic Indiana Jones style joke from Nathan.
Careful.
Christ almighty.
Just kidding.
Nate, you're gonna give me a goddamn heart attack.
You leave, but you get found, of course, because that's what happens. Chloe has to turncoat in order to protect her identity. You two run away. Sully has his
Getting too old for this bullshit.
moment, and then you both jump off a big cliff. Scene end. Now it's the Nate and Chloe show. You're in Nepal, and you're in the middle of an insane civil war backed by Lazarevich. Lazarevich is ripping the city apart because he knows that there's a temple there that you need to be at. And so instead of trying to find the right temple, he simply decides that blowing up every temple is the right idea. This part is really good. The change in scenery is excellent. It's so much more colorful, so much more interesting, and there's a lot of great spaces that feel really lived in. The amount of detail put in each of these rooms and houses feels very strong. There's some good climbing, there's some good combat. All of this area feels really well done. And then, of course, like I said, it is the Nate and Chloe show, which means we are treated to some excellent dialogue.
Seems like I am always saving your ass.
Well, it is an ass worth saving.
Oh, is that an ancient Tibetan ritual dagger in your pocket?
Oh, maybe I'm just happy to see you.
You go through some combat, do a little bit of climbing, the whole thing, all of it looking like a wonderful spectacle. And then you get treated to the best joke in video game history.
Hey, check it out. Marco.
Really?
Come on.
No.
Marco.
Polo.
Fish out of water.
I don't know if I did that when I played.
Next is another one of Uncharted's like spectacle boss
so
fights.
good.
They have a
Cool.
couple
That's cool.
boss fights, so to speak, in this game. Not really boss fights, they're like gimmick fights, but they're meant to be mainly spectacle over anything. This one is a literal helicopter. A gigantic helicopter is hounding you for quite some time, and that's why you're treated to the spectacle, the falling building while you're in it, all this crazy explosions and awesomeness as you're jumping
this
around
is
dealing with a
hard. There was-
literal
This one was
helicopter
simple.
until you find a grenade launcher to shoot the bastard down. It's very exciting. It's not particularly interesting gameplay wise, but it's not the point. It's meant to look good. You do some climbing, you see your fallen prey in the helicopter down there, which is a nice little touch.
That's also what Uncharted 2 did so well. Like the continuation of like what you did, you got to see like the direct result of your actions. And then but they did it in such like a cinematic but like quiet way. It's not like they cut to a cutscene. It was all in game. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like they did a cutscene that showed the helicopter wreck.
Yeah, even if there are these scenes where you like they're pretty on rails and you know like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna die in this scene, but everything is just happening so fast, it still is interesting. Like, you know, those where you grab like, oh, I'm grabbing onto a ledge and it crumbles away. And it's like, yeah, it's probably not gonna fall before I get off of it. You know, like maybe if I stay there, maybe it will, but probably not, you know? And but it adds to that like adrenaline, you know, rush of this really fast paced.
keeps you constantly on your toes.
Yeah.
Also Bricky's face. It was
You can kind of see it, and then drum roll, dramatic music, spaghetti-o, bad news bears. It's the ex-girlfriend.
Hey! Nate? What the hell are you doing here?
I like this. I also don't like this. It is a massive coincidence. It's in character, of course. Elena would obviously be doing something.
but it's also in character for Uncharted. And I know that this is only the second game, but it's such an Uncharted movie. It's like
this last minute, another character shows up, or like adding to the drama. Like they always add to the drama in such just a fun way. Again, it's like this big fun movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. Is like, you know, it's not serious game.
Right.
It's just a fun game.
In this weird way, I think it almost helps with suspending that disbelief even more. you know,
Yeah,
because it does take itself seriously enough to have you be sucked in and very much engaged, but it also at times doesn't take itself seriously enough to where the realism you're not paying so much attention to the realism. It's like it does little things in very subtle and effective ways to where you're not paying attention to the realism. Therefore, you are not losing sight of what the game is about.
It encourages you to give over to to the the world of the game.
Yes, and this story beat is a perfect example.
Something like this. She's go out there, do the big journalistic thing. She has time with a gun now, definitely.
Take him out, Elena!
Yeah, her trailing Lazarevich makes plenty of sense. But come on, like, this is such a huge city, and there's so many temples and all this kind of stuff. Elena running into her right now, right here. It's a little much. It's a little much. It's pretty coincidental. And this is where I get to talk about my new phrase. Nitpicks are problems when I say so. Napwis. You see, the unwritten rule when it comes to nitpicks is simple. Depending on how serious the media takes itself and how much fun you are having, nitpicks can be pushed aside. Their importance is diminished. The more nitpicks matter is on a case-by-case basis. It's why Nathan murdering thousands of people in game is still your lovable hero, because it generally happens in game and doesn't happen in cutscenes. It's basically the idea that cutscenes in Uncharted are the real canon moments, and the gameplay is just the gameplay. This would not work if it was in Spec Ops: The Line or something. John Wick is a movie that is a ton of fun, but it's played mostly straight. It takes itself seriously despite it having an outlandish perspective and idea. That part in the second movie where the two of them are firing silenced pistols in an extremely crowded subway system is fucking stupid and makes no sense. But despite us knowing that, we kind of just don't really care, because John Wick 2 is a pretty great movie. Final example, Captain America, end of Avengers Endgame, the final bit where he's an old man. No, I don't think I will. That is a massive fucking plot hole, but everyone liked Avengers Endgame, so no one really gives a shit. Napwis. Nitpicks are problems when I say so. For this coincidence here with Elena, I invoke Napwis. I will be invoking Napwis more throughout this video, but for now, well, here we are. Going back to the meeting with Elena, coincidence aside, it's exciting because what the fuck happened to them? The way Uncharted 1 just randomly ended out of nowhere, and then this, and then Elena, they're not together. There's a problem here. I mean, there's tension, there's something going on, but we didn't know. Like, we're curious. It was a ballsy fucking move to just have her not even exist until like 1/3 of the game. That took some nuts. Good job. And it also contains the best dialogue in the entire game.
I'm sorry, am I sensing some history here?
Oh, Elena Fisher. Last year's model.
That's cute. No. Glad you find this so funny.
Well, I never figured you for the white bread picket fence type.
She's a lot tougher than she looks, thank you.
Oh.
Oh, what?
She broke your heart.
Oh, please.
She did,
You know what?
she?
Maybe I broke hers.
Oh, yes, Casanova.
I've used that white bread picket fence line a lot. I really like that line. It stings pretty hard, but it's so versatile. You move forward a little bit, Elena and her camera guys stay behind, and then you and Chloe go solve this really good-looking puzzle.
I love
actually
this
two
puzzle.
of them. I mean, it's not necessarily
really
a puzzle. It's not one of those just do what the journal says situations, which you know I'm not a big fan of. But it looks great, which I'm a lot more happy with. It's a climbing puzzle more than anything. Move the hands in certain positions. But then after that puzzle, you get to this insane room right here. It just looks so good. The spectacle, the visuals, the climbing parts of it. Like, this is entirely just a feast for the eyes, and that's good. And they do some great play with the camera here too. If you notice the gigantic, like, it looks like an Oni mask, though I know Oni is Japanese and I believe these are all Tibetan, so I'm not quite sure exactly what this thing is called, but it's always just staring at Nate the whole time, and the camera is very often, when it can, shifted so that it looks like it's judging you the whole way along. It's really cool. This leads to an underground section where they find the exact point of the Shambhalan entrance. You get some great Nolan North dialogue with a pen in his mouth, which is Just fun.
We did it. Yes. We did it.
Lazarevich finds you, fights your way out. Elena's cameraman gets shot, and then you have to carry him along in a section that is way too hard for what it is. I should not be dying like this, carrying this fucking cameraman out. Okay?
I know, that was
part's
tough.
hard. I don't know
Yeah.
how to do this on crushing. I
Wasn't
just
there
don't know. But then you run into
or something in
Yeah,
that level
I think
section
so, I think
because
so,
that
yeah.
you're like trying to jump between buildings when you're not getting shot at by a tank.
Yeah.
Or at least like a heavy machine gun on the back of a truck or something.
Yeah, like something. Like
Oh, it was brutal. It
Damn.
was brutal.
Well, I actually think that that's a good place for us to break up for this part.
Oh yeah.
We're about roughly halfway through the video. Clearly we're enjoying it tremendously. Yeah, we'll finish it up in part 2. I will, I guess, save my ultimate closing thoughts for that video. But,
Yeah, it's just really fun to look back and also see Bricky's review of a game that I truly love. I mean, I think I've seen a lot of reviews of games that Bricky has done, and we've gone, ooh, we want to play that, you know? But now it's like, oh, I agree. Oh, I like that. Or, oh, I actually think that part with Elena coming in, like, I was okay with that. You know?
I was too.
It didn't take me out in the moment. But I do like that nitpicking only matters when I say so. Yeah.
Now
That's really good. Yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in for part 1. We'll be dropping part 2 very shortly. And we are looking forward to that. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything else, and leave a tasty comment in the comment section down below. Let us know some of your thoughts, favorite parts, and when nitpicking is important to you. And we'll see you next time.
Chicago.